Hello, I'm Gavin. This is my channel Gavatar. I'm going to be doing a suit tutorial for my upcoming fan film. This is my kind of my own design of my Spider-Man suit. I've taken inspiration from PSM Spider-Man and Eggsomnia Spider-Man, and you'll get to see how I made the suit. Right now, I'm going to do the fabrics, paint them, how to sew it all together. So. Right here, I'm just laying out my paper patterns. I got inspiration from PSM Spider-Man, how he makes his suits. And the way I get my web lines onto my fabric is I put the paper template down first, the fabric over top, shining a light through, and I can very easily see exactly where my web lines need to be. After I got them all painted, I can sew it all together and it ends out really nicely. There may be moments where I have to just touch up the paint where the webs don't connect. When that happens, I usually just touch up exactly where those webs don't connect. Right here, I'm just gonna start sewing the pants together, and once the paint is all dry and all the pieces, I can sew the whole thing. Right now, I'm laying out all my red fabric to cut out all the templates that have webbing on them, and then once they're all cut out, laying the fabric over, using the light technique and getting all the webbing lines on there. This usually takes a little while, but I have a fan going whenever I do my painting. That way it speeds up the drying time much faster. For the gloves, I usually do pins to hold down the fingers. This is the only pattern that you really need to use pins. I sometimes use the pins to get a good straight stitch, but mainly just for the fingers so that the gloves end out really nice. Now I'm laying out the patterns to do the boots and the sleeves. These patterns have to be done twice. The gloves have to be done 4 times, but the rest of it only has to be done once. What I do is I draw exactly to the edge of the pattern, and then I cut out a good inch away from that stencil line. That way I have extra fabric to sew it all together. Now the most tedious process, adding the web lines. This can usually take hours. I've seen many cosplayers do a whole suit puffy painted. To get a texture on the fabrics, I was able to get this done in less than an hour. I did the lines going straight down first. I let those dry off, and then I did all the lines that connected. All you need to do is just take your time, have patience, and then it'll all turn out really nice. Here I'm adding the webbing to the mask. I start from the middle and spread out very slowly. I want to make sure this turns out really good because it's the most important part of the whole suit. Usually just going nice and slow with the paint, making sure I don't get it too close to the fabric or else it smears, but then it also bleeds into the fabric, which is good and bad. Make sure the webs look really nice, and I don't want to rush anything, just want to take my time and make it look as good as possible. I start with the straight lines and then I add all the lines that cross over once the straight lines are dry. Now I'm adding all the lines that go across. I'm using a little handheld flashlight so that I can see where the webs go. I end up using a lamp that shines a lot brighter and I don't have to hold it in place. Just making sure I go out inward and I don't want to mess up any of the web lines as I go. Now I'm finishing up the mask. You gotta go really slow on this part because you want the mask to look the best as possible. I really make sure that the paint doesn't have any air bubbles in it so that way I don't have any paint spews. And I make sure that whenever I do paint, I want all the paint to be at the end of the bottle so that way I'm not squeezing the bottle and then no paint comes out. Now I'm finishing up the rest of the patterns. The sleeves and the waist belt are the only ones that I can do all at once. The boots and the back of the shirt are the pieces that I want to take my time, especially on the gloves as well. Now you can see that I used the lamp that I was talking about. It makes it so much easier to see where the web lines are supposed to go. Now I have all the pattern pieces painted out. I got sleeves, the boots, the waistband, the shirt, and the mask done. And I can start sewing that all together after I've gone out into my garage and started painting the shoes that go on the boots. So right here I have some Plasti Dip that I'm going to be spraying on the bottom of these water shoes, and then once the Plasti Dip is dry, I can then paint them red, because in the comics they're originally red. So I'm just going to go over this with very light coats of Plasti Dip, making sure it's all over the sole of these shoes, and then once that dries up I can start painting them nice and bright red. Now I'm starting the sewing process, starting with the boots, because then once the paint is dry on the shoes, I can start sewing it all together. Here I'm doing a little test fit of the boot. It looks pretty good, and now I'm going to start on the logo.
Alright, here is more of the crafty stage of this video. I am going to be working on cutting a logo out of this craft foam.
Now I'm starting to sew up the gloves. Using the web lines, they stick together and I can line them up almost perfectly.
Alright, now I have the back logo ready to be cut out of this red vinyl.
Okay, this is something I haven't seen a cosplayer do. I got this iron-on vinyl that I cut the back logo out of, and then I could just iron that on to the back of the shirt. It ends up being really nice, and it looks really good. It's almost like just whatever you'd see on a normal shirt that has like printing stuff on it. I also use this for a suit that I make in my next video, which turns out really nice. Now I'm just going to paint the logo black with the same Plasti Dip that works really good on this craft foam. I used it for the lenses on the suit as well. Now that the Plasti Dip is dry, you can see the beautiful red go onto these shoes. It really makes the suit look official.
Alright, I have little marks where I'm going to put the back logo, and I'm going to start ironing that on.
So the way this works, you pretty much lay it down with the shiny side facing up, and then you just iron the logo on. It takes a little while for it to cool off, and then you can actually peel the plastic. It turns out really nice, really shiny, and it's a nice secure logo on the back. I highly recommend this for other people out there who make their own homemade costumes.
Alright, it is time to see how this turned out. Product. There we go. Just gotta fix one leg, but that is super good. Nice.
So I'm using glue to attach the fabric to the shoes. I tried using a hand needle and that didn't really work too well. This just makes the process a lot faster, and it also stays together pretty well.
Alright, I got both of the sleeves fully sewn now. You see the tearness a bit? That's pretty good. Yeah, that is the sleeve and the glove connected. Just like that. Alright, I got that top piece and the back piece done. The bottom piece. And now I can start attaching the front to this back piece. Shirt, a little wrinkly, it's all right. It's the back. Back logo looks nice. Just like that. That turned out really good. The sleeves all connected. I do have to connect some of the webs with the puffy paint. Wow, that turned out really good. Really excited. Here's a little photo montage of the completed suit. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope this helped out other people who make their own costumes. And I really enjoyed making this suit. I hope to make my fan film some point late this summer, and next video I'll be making my black suit. So hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.